Disclaimer: the contents of Studio 151 podcast and the TU Communication Disorders Connection podcast do not represent the views and beliefs of the University of Tulsa and the Mary Kay Chapman Center.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the TU Communication Disorders Connection podcast. This is your host, Alyssa Hall, and today I'm joined by a very special guest on the podcast, Ryan Cowley, who is a speaker and also a person who stutters. Ryan, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and launch in with some questions. Ryan, can you tell me, when did you first become aware of your stutter?
First became aware, I was in kindergarten. I was 6 years old. And there was a woman in SLP who came to class to see me. And my parents may have mentioned it. I don't remember. I have such a short attention span. I probably in one ear or the other. But the SLP came to see me, and it was kind of ambiguous because we spoke for about 15 minutes, but we didn't talk about stuttering or speech at all. Yeah. She mentioned that she was a speech therapist, like wanted to see me. It's just, so that was kind of confusing for me, but basically she just asked how, like, school, what are my hobbies, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And at the end of those 15 minutes, we were about to leave the office, and she just says to me, like, "That was good, Ryan. That was really good." And I didn't say anything, but I'm just thinking, I don't know why you're so impressed. So it was a confusing day for me in that regard, but I remember going home and my parents kind of explaining it to me that I have like I don't know if they call it stutter or speech impediment or anything like that, but yeah, basically my parents took the time to explain it to me. So yeah.
That's nice to have your parents to help you along in that process.
Yeah, for sure.
Wondering, in those early years, what were the kind of things that you were noticing with your speech?
The way I kind of compare it to like having a sore throat, where like when you have a sore throat and you try to swallow, it hurts. It hurts your throat, but in this case, it kind of had the reverse effect. So like, certain sounds and words I was trying to say, the harder I tried, the more sore, I guess, C words were the worst, so I was like, so, yeah.
Do you remember in those early years, what were the kind of things you were working on in therapy?
Well, when I was in kindergarten, I don't remember quite what I learned with the first speech therapist, but I switched schools in grade 1, and I had a new speech therapist then. And I'm a very visual learner, and I kind of learned that around this time because my SLP had one of those like big exercise books, one of those old ones where the pages were construction paper.
Yes.
She wrote about 5 techniques on each of the first 5 pages. The first 2 always stuck out. It's like one, take a deep breath. So she draw a picture of like a person's head, a diagram, and breath coming out the mouth. And then number 2 was speak slowly. So when you're 6, 7 years old, you think what do you associate with slow? And in my case, it was a turtle. So she drew a picture of a big turtle, like with this green crayon. And we just spent the majority breathing. Excuse me. Breathing. And speaking slowly. So yeah.
Those are the big ones. It's funny how those like visuals are the things that stick with you from when you're a kid.
Yeah. No, because I talk about this even today. It's like even when I'm reminded to speak slowly, etched in my brain is that image of the beauty green turtle,
the little crayon turtle. After all these years,
exactly.
I'm curious, Ryan, your feelings around your stutter when you were like a kid and when you were in like high school, has that changed over the years?
It has. It's changed a great deal. Like when I was a kid, I hated my stutter. I hated having a stutter. I hated everything about it. Like I remember when I was really young, so about 7 or 8. I used to get so frustrated with not speaking fluently that I would kind of put my hand in my mouth and try to rearrange my tongue. Thankfully, that was one of those habits. That wasn't one of those habits that lasted. But I just remember, just frustrating it was, And I don't recommend it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also curious, in kind of like those early years, but also up to this day, what's the biggest misconception people might have about you based on your stutter?
Probably the two biggest would be a lack of confidence and a lack of intelligence. Now, the lack of confidence, like from personal experience, that does play a role. But the lack of intelligence, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of writing, and I was a big hockey fan. So, when I got in my 20s or so, I kind of amalgamated the two and began being a hockey writer.
Yeah.
But one of the things I thought was reading so many, well-written sports articles and just hearing people talk about certain issues in the industry, like on TV even. I want to paint a picture like they do. I want to be as articulate as they are. And so I like to think I did. And, if you think I lack intelligence because I can't get words out at a certain pace, just read my my just read my writing.
Mm-hmm.
One of my other books, because I'm a hockey writer, I specifically covered the Los Angeles Kings of the National Hockey League, and there was this project I just forced myself to do, and back in 2016, I just lost a job. I just basically told myself, okay, I gotta do something. I've got to do some kind of project that'll get me going, because if I don't, I'm gonna drive myself crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been writing hockey for about 6 years at that juncture. Yeah. And I wrote a lot of like opinion pieces, recaps, game previews, stuff like that. Yeah. And I enjoyed all that. But the thing was, it was an ulterior motive, so I wouldn't have to interview anyone. Because I live up in Toronto, Canada, and if I wanted to interview whether players, coaches, executives, former players, they're all, most of them are in LA or the Southwest, like US, Arizona or somewhere. So they were far enough away where, I couldn't just drive over and talk to them in person. I really had to use the phone because, mm-hmm. but I wasn't quite prepared to use the phone like organically, if mm-hmm. that makes sense. See what I did, because growing up, I hated the phone, and I'm still not a fan of it. Yeah. But what I decided to do was, 2016, there's an app for pretty much everything. So how about I just download an audio app on my laptop and record my questions there. And then I thought, well, I got this idea from the King's Speech, the Colin Firth movie, where mm-hmm. he's listening to classical music through headphones while reciting something, and he recites it fluently. And I thought, well, maybe I just combine the two and see how that works out. I mean, it wasn't like a groundbreaking approach, but if it was something that would get me through one interview to the next, I'm fine with it. And because my project, I wanted to interview 50 former Kings, because the team was going into the 50th anniversary. Mm. So
I like that idea. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you. And so I wrote up an email template and it just said who I am, what I'm looking for, and I want to emphasize the forewarning about my speech, and all that, because like I've had in the past where I would call someone and they would think it was like a crank call and hang up or something. So I wanted to get the idea out that, no, I'm a person who stutters, I'm going to call you, kind of thing. And the first 5 or 6 were a bit rough, only because I had no experience with it. And the first few, it took me a couple hours to prepare for each one. Mm-hmm. And slowly but surely, as the interviews went on, it was less and less preparation time. So, after those 50 interviews, I pretty much had a new perspective on stuttering, because for so long I would play the feel sorry for myself card, where it's like, oh, I stutter. Well, too bad I can't do this because I stutter, and woe is me, and quite frankly, it's at that point, at least, I was so tired of making excuses,
Mm-hmm.
just an example of my perspective on stuttering, or my confidence, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There have been people, whether in stores or like doctors, or like if I tried to speak and they rudely interrupted me for years, I would just say, "Oh well, you know what? They're probably right. I'll just grin and bear it because I've no other choice." And I remember in 2017, I went to see my then doctor, about something, and she asked me what my symptoms were, what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to explain it to her, and I, couldn't get words out. So she rudely interrupted, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to say yes or no." And I don't know what came over me, but I didn't make a scene, but I just like, okay, you know what? I'm finding a new doctor.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I just didn't have the confidence to do that. If that were happened 10 years earlier.
Yeah. You developed those skills for like advocating for yourself over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's awesome.
No, thank you.
If someone's communicating with you, what are some things you would tell them to do or not to do?
Oh, yes. Don't try finishing my sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And try to give me as much eye contact as possible.
I think that's great advice. So you just have manners. That's the thing.
Yes, exactly.
You just want people to have manners.
Yeah. Is that too much to ask?
Is that too much to ask? Gosh.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we are going to wrap up our discussion over fluency and stuttering and Ryan's experience as a speaker, author, writer, and everything in between. Ryan, I want to thank you again for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
And to all of you who listened along to this episode, we want to thank you for listening in, and we hope we will catch you on the next one.
For further information or podcast ideas that you'd like to share with us, please reach out at 918-631-2504. We would be happy to chat with you. Remember, communication is not just about words. It's about understanding, empathy, and connection. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep communicating.